Hey, this is Jack Sparrow. Welcome to another edition of the Crow's Nest Chat, and I am that host, Jack Sparrow. Tonight we're going to talk about Captain Marvel. Yes, the recent unpleasantness from this last weekend. That stinking movie. Let's start by looking at some numbers and get that out of the way. As every single SJW on the planet is shouting and yelling from the mountaintops, this movie did exceedingly well. 153 million on its opening weekend. Excellent. Good work, guys. It far exceeded. They actually came close to that $160 million opening weekend projection that they had, whereas we were saying $100 million, you'd be lucky. And it did. It far exceeded that. So, good job. Can't take that away. It was a good opening weekend. And naturally, let's take a look at what the critics have been saying. As everybody knows by now, that this site is pretty busted up. You have to refresh it from time to time, and it'll come up with random numbers, it seems. But this has been staying relatively steady. I have seen this as low as 78, 79%. I have seen this as low as 52%. After all the shenanigans that they pulled with the Rotten Tomatoes scores that were originally at 58,000, getting ready 54K, 59 is the best that they could do. After it was all the way down to 31%. As you can see, top critics have given us 64%. So not a glowing. That's a failing grade. This isn't superb. This was at 79%, which placed it under Iron Man 3, and then it magically went back up to 80%. Okay, whatever. But we kind of all knew that this number right here was going to be a point of contention. Now, there's other parts of it. Naturally, we have the aforementioned SJWs and their affiliates screaming from the mountaintops of how us toxic troll fans have been defeated soundly. Toxic fans fail to Ghostbusters. Captain Marvel's $153 million debut. What's next? We got that, and of course, you got Brie Larson pimping citizen watches with the Captain Marvel logo. And I've just decided that I'm going to be buying an Omega wristwatch. So thanks, citizen. Made that decision a lot easier for me. And of course, can't forget, Captain Marvel's huge opening weekend defies the trolls and sets the stage for more female-led superhero films. And Captain Marvel ends box office myths about female superheroes. And let's not forget the Captain Marvel rockets to historic $153 million debut. Which is not entirely true, because as was pointed out on Twitter, technically, Ant-Man and the Wasp was a dual-led, so it was a female-fronted superhero movie from Marvel. So this is slightly misleading. So anyway, where does that leave us now? Next phase of this conversation. Where are we at? Well, we have social justice weirdos proclaiming victory because of the opening weekend being stellar and mocking us toxic trolls for failing to lose its opening weekend. Okay. They make it sound like this is some sort of amazing movie. It's phenomenal. It's groundbreaking. Well, this doesn't tell me that. This doesn't tell me that. It's not groundbreaking. It's not phenomenal. It's not a good movie. And it's okay to like a bad movie. It is quite okay to like a bad movie, but there was plenty of criticism with how things were handled from a storytelling perspective. Dictor von Doomcock did a very nice review. Thrashing review, but it was a very good review about plot holes, inconsistencies, poor writing, poor choices, and etc. I think what I'm trying to get out of that is that you can take a turd and you can spray paint it gold, but that turd is still a turd, even if it's colored gold. It's lumpy like a turd. It smells like a turd. Well, it might smell kind of like spray paint mixed with turd. But it's still a piece of poop. And unfortunately, what they have here is a spray painted turd. There's all sorts of, you make $153 million does not equate it to being a quality product. People see terrible movies all the time. People went out in droves and saw Batman versus Superman opening weekend, and it made a ton of money. And it was a terrible movie. It's garbage. It's horrendous. People went out in droves and saw The Last Jedi, and it made $224 million on its opening weekend. But then it fell 60% from that weekend to the next? Yeah, it did great. It made a profit, but it was a terrible movie. Not just a Star Wars movie, but it was a terrible movie. People like bad movies, and that's okay. It's okay to like a bad movie. But making money your opening weekend does not certify it as a quality product. Look at all the crap products that are sold on TV. As seen on TV products. Why do you think the insurance company is doing all these joke things, making fun of the as seen on TV commercials? Because they're like that. As seen on TV products are geared towards old ladies who sit at home watching QVC or Home Shopping Network and see something and they get it so they can get their grandson a cool gift, and then the thing sucks. And they wasted money on it, and it's a piece of junk. It falls apart immediately. 3 easy payments of $19.95. But wait, call now, and you'll receive an extra one absolutely free. I was like, you got this? Where does China get their knockoff stuff? If we get cheap junk from China, then where do you think China gets their cheap junk from? And that's where they get theirs, and that's where you get the stuff as seen on TV. So again, just because it made money doesn't mean it ain't any good. And let's talk about the last point that I'd like to make tonight, and that's that this is a cultural war. We've had this narrative and this agenda of this identity politics driven drivel being crammed down our throats for a while now. And it does appear that these corporations, these companies, are all on board with this. And it's not about making money, although sometimes they do end up making money. It's more about conditioning the populace. It's more about, the more you say things, the more people get desensitized to it. The more they're willing to accept it. And it does seem like, when they talk, the irony is they talk about people getting dehumanized. But when you go and you dehumanize thousands of people who just voice their honest opinion or critique, say, I'm not interested in seeing this movie, which is an okay thing to say. I'm not interested in seeing this movie, or I have seen this movie and I don't like it. The whole thing of, well, you haven't seen the movie, so you can't give an opinion on it. I was like, well, the trailers, what are the trailers supposed to do? They're supposed to draw you in and pique your interest to make you want to come in and watch that film. And when it fails to do so, you don't tend to go and watch that film. You say, maybe I'll wait for it to come on Redbox, or back in the day, VHS. You don't care. And so it really seems that this cultural war pushing this narrative and, dehumanizing people, common sense, reasonable, logical thinking people, it's reaching a fever pitch. And it's concerning for many reasons. For example, you got people like Jeremy, Geeks and Gamers, calling out a lot of these nitwits on a daily. And, some of these people, also, Uncle Ethan, calling out these people and get these, these crazies, threatening them or saying that they should be this, and they get doxxed or they get swatted. And I mean, these are hateful, human beings. The irony that they call us hateful is just beyond me. It's a psychotic culture. It seems to be like the more and more time it goes on by, our culture gets more and more psychotic. And people, there's logic and truth and reason is just flowing out the freaking, door. It's concerning to me because this sort of mediocrity, this sort of backwards thinking, or like just intentionally forgetting the past, like, Wonder Woman, that just made a bunch of money just a short time ago, and it was wildly praised by everybody. I mean, come on. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, no. No. Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman. What does this tell you? 93 freaking %. 88 freaking %. It was loved. Universally loved. So, I don't want to hear this crap about it. Being the first female superhero movie to ever do well. I mean, it was a great movie. Anyway, those are just some of my thoughts on the matter. Just watching this whole thing go down. And I'm pretty sure you got thoughts too, and I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. So if you could leave them in the comment section below, I'd be very, very happy. If you feel inclined to, give this video a like, and if you want to see more of my content, which is a mixture between these crow's nest chats, some funny videos that I'll do, I will be cranking up my live streams for other the Jack Plays video game series, where I'll put in an old-fashioned Super Nintendo game or a 64 game or something like that and play and just, offer commentary as I'm playing the game. But if you want to see more of that stuff, go ahead and hit subscribe. And until next time, this has been Jack saying, keep your eyes on the horizon.